LinkedIn Live, YouTube. Welcome to the Man versus Tech Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central. We are streaming live on YouTube. We are streaming live on LinkedIn Live. You can also join us at any point in time because this is on the Intelli's webpage. My name is Chris Pettigrew. Today is just me alone. Kyle is out enjoying himself at Star Wars Land and Florida, so we're going to let him have some fun. And today we got some awesome topics. We're going to talk about data extraction on oil and gas contracts. We are going to talk about the software called Grooper. We're going to show some bookmarkings and PDFs and some really cool information on how you can get live or digital PDFs or living documents. And so I'm excited about this Man versus Tech at the end of the day and what we're able to show you guys. As usual, normally we start off with a little bit of tech news. So we're going to have some fun today, and we're going to talk a little bit about something Kyle and I were chatting about last week. But we kind of have been looking at, we're in the AI game, we're in the intelligent document processing game. We are always, out looking for cool information and stuff to look at. And so last week we talked a little bit about James Earl Jones, being the fact that, he's getting older and he's selling his voice rights. They're going to use artificial intelligence. We actually came across the fact that Bruce Willis is going to be the first celebrity to sell his rights to a deepfake film. So what's actually going on here is he's selling a possibility of a digital twin, okay? And they're going to use, digital creation, artificial intelligence to put Bruce Willis back into movies. And so AI, and it's creating a virtual audio twin of someone in a video. Some of this has been used in Star Wars. Some of this has been used in some movies that are out there. If you've seen The Irishman on Netflix, they actually do like a de-aging to a lot of the actors that are on there. So it's pretty interesting to talk about the fact that we have somebody that was really a big star in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, made a ton of action films, a ton of TV shows. And we're going to get the young Bruce Willis probably coming back, like you see here. And this is going to be what we're going to see in our movies going forward. But yet, Bruce Willis could pass away and we still have Bruce Willis coming out. So it's kind of fun to talk about the tech that's out there, to really think the fact that, there's a possibility. They just made an Elvis movie recently. Could Elvis play himself in his own movie? Could you bring back, artists of the past and be able to have a live concert or a video concert of Jimi Hendrix playing guitar? For people who have never been able to experience that situation, there is a ton of opportunity within artificial intelligence and a ton of opportunity with what's happening into technology that's going to give the future generations a look into the past and a participation of some of the greats that are out there. So pretty awesome to be able to, do this type of technology. We got this from Collider. So it's Google it. It's something fun to watch. I think it's a really interesting topic, and it's starting to become more prevalent in the things that we're doing in our tech world on a day-to-day notion. So take a look. If you guys want to chat about it, hit up me and Kyle on either LinkedIn. You can always message us. You can hit us up on YouTube. You can find us out there. We'd be more than happy to talk tech with anybody that is interested. All right, cool. So today, something that I've been working on, and me and my team actually have been working on for quite a long time, is taking oil and gas contracts and extracting data from them. Really, it started with oil and gas contracts, and at the end of the day, has turned into anything with letters, numbers, characters on a document. We can pull, and we have tools, lots of different tools. Today, we're going to show one of those tools that can pull information and put that into a data set, give you information on the data, put it into a spreadsheet, put it into a database, just be able to view it quicker in the content management type of behavior, and then uploading into different systems. We've had a lot of success with that as well. So today, I'm actually going to show you a couple different demos that we have that do talk about this, and I'm going to talk in length about some of the stuff that kind of happens and some of the technology behind it, some of the work that we have to do. So, when I first started getting into artificial intelligence, I learned a little bit about, or at least IDP artificial intelligence. We were seeing a couple different products that were out there at the time, and I was hearing from people. I was sitting at luncheons and meetings and classes, and they were talking about the fact that they were going through thousands and thousands of documents and pulling out legal clauses, or they were pulling out certain pieces of data that was just amazing to hear. And I've done a lot of this work over many, many years, manually with teams of people, and it's definitely possible to do with people. There's a lot of things that go into, I think, managing a group of people looking through documents and doing analyzation. I am a lease analyst by trade, division order analyst by trade, landman by trade. I wear many, many hats, but I spent many years being an oil and gas lease and title analyst. So that led me into always wanting to try to find another way, a faster way, a way to get through things. I mean, I don't know how many weeks or months or years of my life I've spent looking up assignment clauses for people. I don't know how long of my life and my career, over 23 years full time in the oil and gas business, upstream and midstream. I mean, I probably looked over tens, if not hundreds of thousands of oil and gas contracts and documents, trying to close deals, making sales, selling prospects, drilling wells, creating drilling plans. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to do, and you have to know your document. And for the past 20 years or so, it's been about, going through that document manually, sometimes printing it out and highlighting it with a highlighter, and, taking that and then data entering that into your system of record. And there's lots of different systems of records that are out there. When you're doing all that, you come up with a process, you come up with a way that you tend to find, or try to be as efficient as you can at finding that information, so you can go to the data entry, put it into your system of record, and that becomes your data bank. And then at that point in time, you can run reports out of the system of record. And that's what gives you the big questions in upstream oil and gas a lot of times is, what's my net acreage position? What's my expiration time on a contract? How much money would I owe on something? What can I do on ingress egress rights? If natural disasters happened over the last 20 some odd years I've been doing this, people ask questions about force majeure, favored nations, pew clauses where you lose rights to certain things, gaining rights. What happens if you don't make a payment? What happens if I mess up? Is there a way I can fix it? There's a lot of time spent in all that. And what I found prior to getting into artificial intelligence, the tools we're going to show today, is that we were able to answer all those questions of those statements that I made right now. If we were to read the contract and capture everything from the contract and stick it into our data bank and into our systems, and ask that system to report it back out to us, whether it be a canned report or whether it be something like an export to Excel, and then we can create some custom reports or whatnot. And this is before we started getting into like Tableau and Power BI and some of the heavier reporting engines. I mean, I'm just talking about making Excel reports or multiplying reports. But either way, you could complete the task. It was a very time-consuming situation. It was a lot of people that were involved, but the task was able to get done. So it's always been interesting for me, being in the service business. We charge by the hour for everything we do. So the more people working, the more hours billed, the more costly the project, the more revenue made. And that's just how it is. It's a time and materials type of behavior. When you start to blend in technology into what your actions are, you're taking on a whole nother step. And so at this point in time, starting out around 2019, here we are in 2022, and we have developed a way to go through thousands of documents within like 3 weeks. Whereas, I was talking with my team the other day, could you go through could anybody make it through 3,500 land contracts in 3 weeks time period with everything audited and ready to import into a land system? And I've never met anybody be able to do that. If you are the person out there, please contact me. I want to hire you, or do a deal or something. But at the end of the day, it's really big thing to be able to move so quickly and to use this information and data that can be very, very accurate. And at the end of the day, really like literally go through thousands of documents and get your answers. And so that's the dream, I think, at the end of the day, is to say, I want to go through 3,500 contracts and I want to be able to get accurate information from all those contracts. Is the reality that all 3,500 of them are accurate? Is the reality that you don't need to have a human in the loop type of situation? I think the reality is that you do have to have human in the loop. I think there's a lot of knowledge that comes with a person who is a lease and title analyst or a general oil and gas land agent or analyst. For those of you that are joining in or watching, these are the type of things that we train for and we learn and we understand and we know. It's our knowledge. It's what's up here. And transferring that into a robot is possible. It's possible to teach artificial intelligence how to become you. It's possible to teach artificial intelligence how to do behaviors that you would do. What's the most difficult thing about artificial intelligence or any kind of robot training process by human is that you literally have to teach the robot every single way you can think of. Whereas human beings, we learn things and we adapt to certain things. We may not think of every single step that we take. We may make shortcuts. We're cognitive. We can take a shortcut. We can do certain things that artificial intelligence doesn't have the reasoning or the understanding to do. And so you have to actually sit down and think of all the different ways that you would make something happen, plus any other ways you can't think of for the bots to work perfect. And then there's some other stuff that kind of comes into play, like quality of document, optical character recognition, OCR. You may have heard the acronym or term, which allows you to digitally read the documents. What's happened to the document? If you've watched Man versus Tech, if you joined us on this stuff, we talk about this a lot. Getting ready. Our last talk was about getting ready for intelligent document processing. Today, we're actually going to show some intelligent document processing. But just getting ready for that. What are you putting into the robot? What are you feeding it? The old garbage in, garbage out still applies. And I think that that's a huge thing that I've learned over the past, 4 years doing IDP and applying it towards my trade, is that it can really take you 3, 4, 10 steps ahead. But there's a lot of stuff sometimes that it just ends up being, human only can do, or the bot helps you do certain things. And then on the flip side, we've literally ran through 3,700 things and double check it, and we literally have accurate information within a couple of weeks with some minor human interaction. So enough talking on my part. I think what it is time to do is start showing some of the cool tech that we actually have. And so one of the techs that we're going to talk about today is a really good company that I've worked with for quite a long time. They are called Grooper. Grooper is out of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Edmond, Oklahoma. They're actually owned by a company called BIS. And so I'm going to share the Grooper website with you guys. You guys can take a look at Grooper, call us up if you want to talk about Grooper. But we're just going to kind of share a little bit about that today. So the tech you're about to see here is called Grooper. Creator is BIS. Grooper is an intelligent document processing capture software. It literally can take documents, and it has the ability to run a document through it. You do have to train it. You do have to teach it. You have to learn how to use it. It is not a software that comes preloaded to read certain things. But it's a very much a universal tool. It's a kind of like a hammer in my eyes. And it can do lots of different things if you make it do lots of different things. So at the end of the day, it does image processing. It can classify documents, which is a huge piece of the IDP process. Classification, understanding what the document is. Is it an oil and gas lease? Is it a memorandum of title? Is it a warranty deed? Is it a lease data sheet? Is it a correspondence letter? Is it a piece of mail? It has the ability to identify those type of things. Then it does the machine reading. So then at that point in time, it applies natural language processing. a lot of other technologies to actually go through utilizing optical character recognition and reading the document, learning the document, which takes you to the next part, which is extracting the information that you want to get after you build your models in Grooper, getting that information out to a data reviewing tool, being able to review that data. And then my favorite thing about Grooper, compared to a lot of other artificial intelligence softwares out there, is that it doesn't just give you an answer. It actually lets you go in and modify that answer. So if you're reading the document, and this is what I mean by you got to come in and bring in your knowledge and information. You can see where maybe the AI pulled something and it was semi-factual. Maybe it pulled partially something of a paragraph. And I'm going to do some demoing here in a little bit. The possibility the OCR is bad and it's just spelled wrong. And it's not the fact that it got the wrong thing. It just can't capture the information because the OCR is so bad that the spelling is bad. So you can go in there and like fix the spelling right on your own. And then after that, you export and integrate into something. And so there's API connections for it. You can dump out to DBs, and it's a pretty awesome tool. I've been very invested with the Grooper software as a partner with them, as a user. We really like this software, and we're going to demo some of this today and what its capabilities are. I've worked pretty closely with the Grooper team for many, many years. So shout out to you guys that are out there. One of the things I'm going to show today, I'm really impressed with, which is bookmarking PDFs with data that you extract from Grooper, and you're able to actually make a live PDF. So let's start to take a look at Grooper. So if you want to go check it out, bisok.com. Go type in Grooper, Grooper on Google, and you will be able to chat about it, or give me a holler. I will help you get in connect with these guys, talk to them. We are a reseller of Grooper, and we love the software. So now that you got a chance to take a look at the Grooper website, we're going to actually take a look at the Grooper software. So what you're looking at right now is literally Grooper, and I'm in the data review stage of Grooper. There's lots of pieces that are a part of this software. Here, what we're looking at is a right-of-way agreement. So again, it's not just about upstream, midstream, one type of contract, one type of document. It is about a ton of documents, about a ton of different things that you can run through this thing. But today we're going to talk a lot about pulling from what I just call oil and gas contracts at the end of the day. So here we have our original file name. We're able to get the grantor, and we can see that's highlighting over there, and then we have a confidence ratio. So the AI this is the end part. We talked about the extraction. We talked about the reviewing the document, the finding the information. It's found the information. Now it's providing it back to us. So we're able to go through the data review, and actually it's pretty cool because you have your PDF on the right, your data on the left, and you're able to actually see what the confidence factor is. It highlights where it is inside of it. If you're in the oil and gas land business, you've probably seen a document like this before. We have a doc date that's on here. Notice how it takes the written September 27th, 17 and actually changes that. And we feel that is the actual document date. The confidence score is 100%. And then of course up here, we change it to 9/27/17. We do that by programming Grooper to do certain things like that. So there's very much a human interaction in the teaching the artificial intelligence how to react and what to do with certain things. And if it didn't give us a right answer, this is what I was talking about earlier. I mean, I can literally come in here, and if I wanted to change the way the date looks, maybe I want it to be day, month, year, and that's how I want to do it. But I'm changing this on the fly, and I'm not having to go back to a software company. I'm not having to go back to anybody at all but myself to change that data and locate the bookmarking, the information on its own. Here we also broke out different clauses that you can look for. So we have assignment of not allowed, assignment without consent, consent may be withheld, consent not reasonably withheld, consent to assign required, notice to assign required, ingress egress, line size limited, multi-line rights additional. I can keep on going. Temporary workspaces, non-use clauses, notice to enter. These models are built already, and we built these models to look for all of the things that you're seeing on here. So removal of pipeline, relocation of grantee expenses, removal of above ground appurtenances, road terminations, and you can build more and more and more. The cool thing about Grooper as well is that this actually changes as you build different models to do different things. And I can show you that a little bit later on in our talk today. So kind of just looking at the software in itself, we can complete the task and move on to the next document. And so that document I felt was done. Here we run into a recording memorandum. We have a one pager, it's 15, excuse me, I'm sorry, this is 15 pages, but we're actually pulling the grantor information. And, inside this, we have some temporary workspace information. And, we can go in here and read and we can check all this stuff. And if we find anything to be misspelled, or maybe this is a minus sign instead of a dash, you just go in there and fix it. You just go in there and move it around. It's a really cool tool, Grooper, and what it can do. And here, in my world, I use a couple of different tools, but this is one of my favorite ones. So I'm going to talk about this one today on Man versus Tech. But again, you see the same type of stuff being looked for through different types of documents. I mean, this document contains lots of different information. There's signatures. Here's an Exhibit A. You have a map. We have Exhibit AB2. So the document's changing as we're going through the document. And it doesn't matter what we run against the model. The document can modify, but we will actually continue to get information from this document. So I'm going to complete task on that one. And we're going to open up another type of document. And this one's actually a pipeline easement agreement. So here we actually have the assignment, and we have the grantee may assign this agreement. We don't see, directly without the consent. So it's actually pulling the language. Now you can go in here and a lot of times, maybe you don't want all the legal language. Maybe if you're in the legal field, you do want to be able to get all that legal language. Maybe if you have a software that only takes a note or a certain amount of characters, you can come in here and literally delete this and put in something else like assignment without consent void. So not only are we naming that, but maybe I want to put in where it is, and I don't want that language. I just want to put in a note. So P29, no consent needed. And now I've made my own custom note that I can spit out. It's still finding it and applying it to the PDF. So when you kick things back out of Grooper, you actually kick it back out and you have a live PDF. And I'm going to show some of that here in just a little bit. We have, without consent cannot be unreasonably withheld. And we got the language in there. Feels 100% confident. Here we have the grantee may not assign a whole or part without the express consent of the grantor. So we have some interesting stuff happening right here where it may not be assigned, the grantee may assign the agreement whole or part without the consent of grantor. That we have some other language that we need to look at. So we're getting some information from this. This is where the human comes in. This is all of my 20 years of being a land analyst. This is me coming in and saying, hey, I can see different things. I want to know what's really going on here. Do we have ingress egress rights? And notice it's taking it to us. We feel that it feels like this is good. So it does grant the right of ingress egress. Here we have the pipeline size, not to exceed 24 inches, and we have it the whole thing. Could we have had that put out in the 24 IN? Could it say all the numbers? Could we have grabbed the whole paragraph? Sure, we could have. We can even program it to do certain things and even translate, come out in Spanish if you want to. It's pretty wild what you're able to do with the software at the end of the day. Does it have multi-line rights? This is one pipeline. So in a pipeline easement agreement, you have one pipeline. Here we have a temporary workspace situation. You can see that we call it the temporary workspace. We're pulling the information. Here we have a non-use clause. So if after 5 years should abandon, you have a 24-month period. We have, what do you want that to say at the end of the day? Do you want what it pulls, or do you want to change it? It's all up to you. You're the user. You're in control. And that's what is my favorite part about this, is that I can literally do my analyzation. I have one screen to do it in. So this isn't really any different than what I used to do a long time ago, back in the 90s and 2000s, early, 2000, 2010s, even up to going into the 2020s, printing out a contract and sitting down with my highlighter and highlighting things so I can find the information. Now it's doing it for me. It's putting it all in one place. I'm reviewing the entire document. We have models that literally read entire oil and gas lease packages, including memorandums of title, mineral ownership reports, lease data sheets, plat maps, memorandums of leases, oil and gas leases, W-9s, tax forms, letters agreements. you can go through the whole entire oil and gas lease package just like a file and put it all right here in front of you for you to analyze and get the data right. And then you can spit that back out to a database. So now you have literally done a full lease analyzation. If you want to number your tracks, we can add in fields for that. You can get really crazy with what goes on this side of the program, and how much you want to add. In my oil and gas lease one, we actually have custom note fields where Grooper's not capturing anything. It's just a field for you to create a data set so you can put in custom notes that you may find as you're doing your review. So I think that's pretty awesome. So at the end of the day, we're able to kick this stuff out and you can put it into Excel. I'm going to complete task on this one. And here we have another pipeline agreement. And again, we're getting the information. We have VBAR LTD. We have multiple owners in this one. You may want to split that out. In this case, we're asking for it to be in one row. What can you do? You may want to grab it as first, middle, last. You may want to grab it with each individual owner on there. Chris Pettigrew individually and as trustee of the Pettigrew 1997 Revocable Trust. In a lot of ways, it's two owners. In a lot of ways, there could be three names for my name. Could be even up to five if you use my real full name. And then you have my revocable trust as well. So being an owner. So that's 6 total names that can come out of here. We design it. We can get it ready for you. Grooper's capable of that. I just don't know what your system may take. So you have to think about these things prior to sometimes building these models out. At the end of the day, you've seen a lot of documents here. Contact me if you want to talk more about this. We are literally ripping through documents. We had a client that we worked with, 3,700 leases, doing a due diligence, able to rip through all 3,700 of them, audited every single one of them, have all the provisions, accurately audited them with people. Took us about 3 weeks to do all that. I mean, it was amazingly fast. It's ready now to go into our land system, and now we're ready to manage the asset. We were also comparing it to what the seller was saying and being able to do all kinds of different things and being more accurate because of that information. So the next thing I really want to share and what I'm super excited about is some new technology that Grooper invented. I just want to call them the inventor. I don't know if they actually truly invented this, but if we bring over and we look at what I like to call a living PDF. I mean, this is literally in Adobe. Here we're dancing around between the grantor, the grantee, the document date, which we have up here. It'll set the information all the way to the top. Assignment without, the consent to assign situation. We were just reading the same exact one just a minute ago. And this is the same information that I'm pulling out of Grooper into an Adobe PDF, and it's highlighting the information for me. I'm able to go around here and look at this information, read the information. And what's all really cool about this is that if I go into the properties of this for particular PDFs, I can actually go look at the metadata, and that data is actually tied into this PDF, so it can literally flow with this document. It's something that Grooper worked on really hard on about a year or two ago. It's just coming out with the new Grooper 2022. It's being refined in Grooper 2023, and I think it's amazing. If you're in the legal field, if somebody could audit this stuff using artificial intelligence, then spit back out a bookmark situation where you can dance around your PDF. We have 17 pages here. We're looking literally, if I want to know where the temporary workspace is, there it is. It takes me right to it. What's the non-use clause? I want to know what the release is. Here we have the information right there. And we can get more and more and more. We can get everything out of this. It really doesn't matter. I mean, every single bit. Agrees to maintain good current standing general liability insurance. So if you wanted to know that, how much the insurance needs to be, just the dollar amount, all that can be done and then exported to a PDF. So now you actually have a copy of the PDF that's on your share drive, your SharePoint, your server, whatever place you're hosting your documents. And then when people open up the PDFs, you don't actually have to have Grooper to look at it. You're using the information that came from your AI in the PDF itself. As a company, if you're going out and you're wanting to sell, you're wanting to acquire, a living PDF coming into me, if I'm helping a due diligence and I am working with a company on picking up their assets, if I were to open something like this up, to be able to literally go over here and say, hey, look, this thing says it takes a consent to assign, and now the paragraph's right in front of me. I just proved up that the consent exists, and I know that this needs to be in my assignments, a consent to assign checklist. And, what I've never seen anything like that before in a PDF. Now I've seen people do it manually. I have definitely taken out of things out of our land system and have someone go in here and key in this bookmark and key in and link it to the right place where it can go to. Insert pages as bookmarks, do things like that to help navigate files. But this automatically happens. It's the data that you review. It shows you where it's at and it bookmarks it for you. This is a huge step for everybody that's out there. So if you have questions about this, you want to learn more about this, I am totally open to talk about it. I want to meet more people out there who are interested in this technology. Maybe you've seen something like this before. Maybe I'm not the first person to show this out there. I have yet to come across something else that does a software that does this to Adobe PDFs and gives you that living document. It's huge. It's always been a huge thing for the bookmarking throughout my career to just be able to navigate a page. I mean, I don't know how many joint operating agreements that are 365 pages. I don't know how many times I've looked through a royalty revenue check and the thing is hundreds and hundreds of pages of information. And literally we can bookmark the well names on the side, what oil production was, and you can just sort through your revenue check looking at your wells without having to just control F and remember things. You may not know what to control F all the time. So if I wanted to still even go through here and control F the word assignment, I mean, I can do that and it's going to find it. And that's a way of navigating. But if I keep hitting it, it's just going to show me everywhere that it thinks it finds the word assignment at the end of the day. You can partially do things, but that's a way to navigate that can be very tedious. This straight up tells you and takes me to the ingress egress clause. There it is right there. I can see it. I can read it. I can validate it. My job's done. Thank you, AI, for helping me. And I don't even have to have Grooper on the post side. If I'm the one just reviewing this PDF, I don't need to have the software. This is living outside of the software. This can go to anybody on your team, and can be in any kind of PDF that you can think of. It does not really matter what PDF you stick it into at the end of the day. Today's whole situation is all about talking about IDP and what it can do. Today we talked about Grooper, one of our tools that we use. We showed how IDP is actually extracting information. We showed an end result of IDP, Intelligent Document Process for you guys out there, IDP, I'm using an acronym, but how it actually takes that digital extract and applies it to the PDF and makes it a living smart PDF now with bookmarking capabilities. Whoa. Just totally amazing in my mind. I'm blown away by the fact that they created something like this. So good job to my guys at Grooper. We're excited about being able to use the technology, and we are currently using it for a lot of our clients. If you want to learn more about this, hit me up, chris.p@intellis.com. Hit me up on LinkedIn, chat with me. We got a YouTube channel. We're ready to talk. We're ready to talk tech. We're ready to do this. So big question of the day always is, hey, this is man versus tech. And I know I don't have my boy Kyle here today. He's enjoying himself. So I'm going to rule. I'm going to rule today. Tech wins. There's no question. I think tech really kills it here. And on all points, this is not something that humans could do efficiently. It's something that humans can do. I think man can do this. Trust me, I've done it before. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of time, sometimes a lot of people to do something that a machine can do very quickly, very accurately. However, let's not forget, man is still here. Human in the loop situation. But I'm going to give this one to tech because tech actually takes the cake on this one for efficiency, for accuracy, for what it's able to do. But it doesn't do any of this stuff without man showing it what to do. So man does have a little bit of love on this one, but I'm going to give it to tech for this one. So everybody out there, thanks for joining Man versus Tech every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central. Most of the time it's me and my boy Kyle Souza. And thank you for joining us today. And if you want to hit us up, have any questions about anything, we are always doing live on Wednesdays, or just hit us up anytime and check it out. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have an enjoyable Wednesday. Have a great week here in the Woodlands. It's super sunny and the weather's nice. I hope it's nice where you are as well. Take care.